Yes, you are right. So we can create attribute view as we need and then use that in the analytic views. So unnecessarily we will not create attribute views. According to our requirement only we would create. If you observe, I can create other views as well, which is not required. So you need to understand, that's why I said, according to the business requirement, you would be creating that. You would be having hundreds of master data tables in your scenario. If you're not using those tables in your model, in your objects, so why to create unnecessary attribute views? So you have to create those attribute views which are required and then use them in the analytic views. That is what the concept here. Now here what I have done, I selected one fact table in the data foundation and then I used three dimensions here, article color as well as outlet. These three combinations I used and then I connected it with a fact table. In real time scenario you may have more and more dimensions. Maybe you may have more than 10 dimensions, so you need to connect those dimensions to the fact table. So you need to identify that what are those required. So after identifying these dimensions, you need to connect these respective dimensions here. Let me go to the semantics. So here it is showing only two measures. So why it is showing only two measures? Because I didn't select the margin. So let's go back to semantics again. So total three measures I have selected. Now I'm going to validate this view. Again it is telling me article ID, family name and family code is available in two places. Either you can use the alias name for that or you can hide this. So I don't want these excess fields. So what I can do, I can hide these two fields which are not required. See the data preview of it. Now if you observe, I have a data with respect to the dimensions article, color as well as outlet. Total 4 dimensions. Now if you see, the data is available along with the factual information. What is the respect to outlet, with respect to article, respect to category, respect to color, I have a quantitative information along with that. So if you want to analyze the data in the reporting layer, this view, this article color outlet view will give me the different dimensional data. This view can be a source for your reporting layer to analyze the data at different dimensions. So here also you can analyze the data. For example, I want to see which city, which category has the highest margin. Both are different dimensions, which is coming from different dimensions. Similarly, if I want to see which city, I want to see in which city, which let's say family code or family or which color. So different combinations you can do. Of course here it is not that visible clearly because we have a limited screen here. This is not for the reporting. This is just to validate or analyze. As a developer you are analyzing the data whether it is giving the proper data or not. So now if you can go back to the distinct values, here you can identify whether I'm getting the right category or not. So in the last case also we got this t-shirts as the highest category, and different cities I have, total number of counts, how many entries are there with these cities, different states I have, who are the managers involved in this business, different shop IDs, how many shop IDs are there, outlets are there. So this way you can analyze the data in different format. Okay. Here you can see the data type of that also. Sometimes you would require what is the data type of one particular field. So in that case, you can come here and check the data. What is the data type of that? So you cannot see the data type anywhere. Only you can see the data type here. Sometimes you may be encountering some issue and you want to see the what is the data type of that particular field. So you cannot see the data type directly here. When you select the field, here you can see. Or in other way around, you can come here in the data preview. Here you can see the data type, respective data types of that particular field. Okay. Now let's say the customer requirement a little more changed. Later point of time, they asked you to improvise the existing analytic view or enhance the existing analytic view by adding one more dimension. Remember, so customer requirements will be coming up in the form of the enhancements. The future enhancement would be adding the extra dimensions called calendar dimension. So they want to analyze the data based on the different year, different quarter, different time granularities they want. So in that case, you have to enhance the existing attribute, existing analytic view, or create a new analytic view. In real-time scenario, what we do, we will enhance it. We will not create a new one. Instead, we will enhance the existing one. So in this case, I'm creating the new one called an underscore. Completely I'm taking, right? So I'm taking the name as an underscore e-fashion because I'm going to use all the dimensions here. All my e-fashion dimensions are involving here. So that's why I'm taking the name as e-fashion. So what is my fact table? As usual, I'm taking the shop facts as my fact table. So here all the fields would be involved here. Shop facts ID is not required because we already have shop ID. So here if you observe, I would be using all the 4 dimensions. Now you will see the perfect star schema. So in the middle I have a fact table which are surrounded by fact table surrounded by dimensions. This is called your star schema model. So when someone asks you what model that HANA follows, here is star model, star schema model. So here we have a fact table surrounded by 4 dimensions. These 4 dimensions are our dimensions in this scenario. In real time, you may have more dimensions. Remember, that is what important thing here. You may have more than 5, more than 4 here, more than 10, depending on the business requirement. So always you need to keep in mind one thing, what is my business requirement. Don't think your requirement, don't imagine yourself that business may looking for this. Always clarify from the business that what they are looking for. Sometimes business may asking you some more information which is not available in your base tables or base views. You need to think what are those complex scenarios, what are those complex requirements that business is looking for which is not available in my base tables or base views. How can I achieve that? Can I achieve that in analytic view? If not possible, how can I achieve that? So if not achievable in analytic view, should I create analytic view or I should go for the calculation view? So for that reason, initially only you need to understand the business requirement. So before creating this view, I know the business requirement is just to analyze the data on article, color, calendar and outlay. I simply can go for analytical view because I can do that with analytic view. If something which is not achievable with analytic view, I cannot go for it. Instead, I will create a calculation view. Okay. So we don't need to discuss right now about the calculation view. Still, we have a time, enough time to discuss that. So article ID to the article ID, and then connect to the respective fields. Okay. If you're not sure about the cardinality also, don't select any one cardinality. Again, you need to check with the functional guide. So if you are very sure about these two combinations, the data combinations and everything, then you can go for the respective cardinality or join type. If you are not very sure about these things, do not imagine. Do not imagine, just confirm it with your functional consultant. Okay. Okay, so I have so far I created one dimension which is a little complex one compared to the previous one. So don't think that this is the complex one compared to the real-time scenarios. In real-time scenarios, we will be having more complex one. Now go to semantics. So here you will find again alias. I'm just hiding those three fields which are already available in other dimension. Have we already hidden? So I validated it and activated the view. Now if you see, the data is available with all the dimensions. So if I use this view in the reporting layer, I can analyze the data in different dimensions. I can analyze the data in different dimensions. I know I have a data to analyze with respect to the outlay, with respect to the calendar type, with respect to the article information or color information or different dimensions, combination of the dimensions, attributes. You can analyze the data. So that's the reason why I said analytic view is a multi-dimensional model. Now you understand why I said analytic view is a multi-dimensional model. The multi-dimensional model, why I'm saying here is because it involves the multiple dimensions. It involves multiple dimensions. In this case, how many dimensions I involved here? With how many dimensions I created? With the 4 dimensions I created. But when I'm creating attribute view, it is created on particular product or particular sales organization or particular customer master data. So this way we would be creating analytic view on multiple dimensions. So here I'm saying, yeah. So here is the question from Raj. We can use a number of dimension tables as long as we find a matching key in the fact table. Does it impact the query performance if we use multiple dimensional tables? It's a very good question. It's a very good question. Yes, you are absolutely correct. When you are adding more and more dimensions, obviously it will impact your query performance. If I see the data preview of it with the 4 dimensions, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay. Yeah, according to your question, when we are adding more and more dimensions, it will obviously impact your performance. So with the less damage, you can simply imagine if I am dealing with only one table and joining with one table, it takes some time. If I'm adding more and more tables, it will obviously impact your performance. That's why when you are selecting the join type, if I am using which kind of join also impacting my total output, total query performance. If I are using 20 dimensions or 15 dimensions within an analytical view, one analytical view, and if I am using only 2 dimensions, there is an impact. So if your requirement is something like that, you cannot do anything with that. But compared to any other products, analytical products, which gives a better performance and compared to that. So obviously you will be having the performance effect when you are adding more and more dimensions. That is for sure. Is that clear your question or something else you are looking for? Yeah, I will discuss the fine tuning later on because we will have a session on the performance improvement, like how in best way we can fine tune or we can do a performance tuning to improve the performance. So for the time being, what I can say here is you first understand the business requirement and build the model first. So usually in real time also, what's what we do? We first deliver the product. We later think about the performance tuning. The delivery is first important thing. So first you need to understand that first. Of course, parallelly you can think of the performance as well. So basic performance things you can identify and do that, follow that. And if you want to really improve the performance, which customer is not happy with the current performance, you have to think a little more, changing the dimensions or changing the model itself. So that is one important thing. And since you asked me one point, I'll tell you here. The analytic views gives the best performance compared to any other view. Compared to any other view, analytic views gives the best performance. See here how much time it took, usually 141 milliseconds, right? So when I preview the data of my attribute view that I created, 31 milliseconds. Now if I see some other 46 milliseconds, even though it has a combination of two, but still I'm just getting it in 46 milliseconds. So remember, the hierarchy is something like this. The best views to give the best performance is analytic views. The second one is attribute views, and third one is a calculation views. You may encounter a question in the certification that please arrange the order in the in a performance order. So which one gives the best performance is analytic views, because it is designed in such a way that it is optimally designed to give the best performance. So we always prefer to create or meet the business requirements with a analytical view itself. Okay, so in very rare situations, if you are not meeting your business requirement with analytical views, the recommendation is to go for calculation view, which is a little complex. The calculation view, it is not as simple as this. With this, we have done with these scenarios, but not completed with analytical views. We have completed these scenarios. So we created the first scenario, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seven. Total 7 scenarios. Total 7 views we created here. So for any doubts in these 7 scenarios, any ambiguity here, let me know before I go ahead with the other concepts. Still, we have more things to discuss in analytic view. It's not yet completed. Still, we need to discuss about creating a calculated column on measures, restricted measures. We need to, discuss about variables, input parameters inside analytical view, and how to consume hierarchies in analytical view. So that we need to discuss it. So here is the question. General question. I see logical join in my analytical view instead of star join in this scenario section. Am I doing anything wrong? Okay, good question. Again. So if you go help and if you see about HANA Studio, the version that I am using is the latest version. The one which you are using is a little older version than me. It's not a completely older version, little one step older. If it is 2.0 version, then you will see logical join there. I will check. I have your credentials. I will check what kind of studio that you have access. So based on that, I will inform those to upgrade to the latest one. The rest of the things is the same, right? So whatever we are doing, the rest thing is same. Okay, it means it has to be upgraded in your access system, in your remote desktop system. The studio which is maintained is the older version. I will check it. Okay, the next concept, one concept let me discuss, that is calculated columns. So we already discussed this concept calculated columns in attribute views. So what we created there, calculated attributes we created. So a calculated, a customized column on attributes we created, but not on measures. So let's say something business requirement is something like this. They are looking for a new measure, a new KPI, key performance indicator. So I think you're familiar with these words. Key performance indicator is something like they need a new kind of measure which is not available at the table level. Based on the existing measures, the customer want a new KPI in the report. So whenever you are building that new KPI, you have to create a new measure, calculated measure. So which cannot be possible in the attribute view, because attribute view is meant for attributes, not the measures. When you are building your KPIs, new KPIs, so key performance indicators like percentage of change of my sales compared to the previous month and this month, percentage of change of my sales revenue compared to the previous quarter and this quarter. This is two different types of KPIs which directly may not be available in your table level, but which can be generated, which can be created on your table fields. Like let's say simple example, I have total quantity sold and total sale value of that particular product. If I multiply these two, I can get the revenue. I can get the revenue. I don't have profit field, how much profit I got. So if I want to get a profit, so what kind of calculations that I need to perform? I need to minus my expenditures from the total revenue. If I minus my expenditures, whatever expenditures, so all together, so if I minus that with the actual revenue I got, actual sale amount I got, so that I will get a profit field which is not available in my table level information. So all these kind of KPIs, key performance indicators and new measures, how can I achieve that? In Analytic View, we have something called calculated columns. Calculated columns. With this calculated columns, I can create a new measures. So let me take one new measure, which is a combination of quantity sold, amount sold, which gives a new revenue. Let's say something called, I'm calling it as a new sale, total sale amount. You can say total sale amount. So which I don't have here. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a new kind of column called new sale amount. So right click on this, create a calculated column. So calculated measure I'm going to create. So I'm taking the naming convention as CM. CM underscore. CM stands for calculated measure underscore or total sale amount. Total sale. So which since it is a measure, I'm taking the data type as decimal. With respect to length and scale, what you want, with respect to length and scale, the column type is a measure or attribute. I'm creating a measure, not the attribute. I'm creating a measure, but not the attribute. So I selected it as a measure. Now in the expression editor, you will do your calculation. So to get the total sale, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to multiply my quantity sold with the amount sold. My quantity sold with the amount sold. So what I'm going to do here is just observe the quantity sold multiplied by amount sold. So validate the syntax. So it is a valid syntax. So what I'm trying to do here is nothing great. I'm just multiplying one field with the other field to get the new field. So click on OK. So if you observe, one new measure has been created. It's a new KPI for me. New KPI for me, key performance indicator for me. So business is looking for this kind of field. So now, according to the business requirement, I created one field. There may be so many requirements that we will see, more calculated column that we will create. So now let me validate it and then activate it once again. Yeah. So let's see the data preview of it. Now I should get a field called total sale. Now in this particular year, what is my total sale? In 2003, I have a total sale of this. So in this particular year, I have got this. So which manager in this year got the total highest scale? Or you can take other like quarter level information. So it means what I try to do here is I created one new KPI which is not available at my table level. That you need to understand. So calculated columns are mainly used to create a new columns to meet the business requirement by creating a new KPIs. These new KPIs are the business requirements. Okay, if business is asking something which is very complex, which is not achieved with simple formula, then you will go for scripting, SQL scripting in a calculation views that we will see later on. Okay, it is a simple requirement in which what business is asking me is create one column in which column I need an information which gives the information of total sale. The total sale I will get when I multiply with the quantity, total quantity with the amount sold. So the formula they will give, what kind of formula? So you need to just achieve that with a HANA model. Okay, so we will see more and more examples with the calculated columns in the next class, that is on Monday. And we will still need to discuss on restricted columns, why we use restricted columns, why we use input parameters, and why we use variables. And here you have another thing called hierarchies. So can I create hierarchies in analytical views, or if I need to create analytical views in some other views, how can I consume those hierarchies in analytical views? What are the different types of hierarchies that we have? So that and all we will discuss in the next classes. So any doubts here? I'm just unmuting all, so you can ask if you have any queries here. So today we discussed still analytical views with more examples with the calculated columns concept. So any queries from anyone? Okay. If there are no queries, we can wind up for the day. And next class would be on Monday, same time. Okay. Okay. Have a nice weekend, everyone.